Let's dive into some of the biohacking, the peptides, some of that nature. By the way, if you guys aren't watching on video, Aaron is wearing his red light glasses today, trying to filter some of the blue light that we all get. And the blue light doesn't just come from our screens, it comes from fluorescence and LED lights as well. So we have a blue light inundation in our lives. And so that's one thing that we're seeing a lot of the influencers on social media is wearing these red light glasses. But beyond that, we hear of BPC 157, we hear of NAD, we hear of HGH, TRT, all these three-letter things. What are some of the things that people should know about peptides, should know about? Let's start with peptides, maybe NAD, maybe BPC 157, and I know there's 50 others that I didn't mention. But where should people be looking to supplement their lives with some of these peptides? And what are working the best in your experience?
Peptides is becoming the future because they're not steroids, they're not anabolic, meaning it doesn't make you a steroid user by being on peptides. When you think about peptides, you have to understand what they are. Peptides are sequences of amino acids, so your body recognizes them, and you already have internal processes that your body goes through with growth hormone secretion, with its own healing, with your cognitive function, which is why sleep is so important. So if you think about what your body already does, these peptides that whether you ingest them or inject them, help encourage your body to function more efficiently by using them, maybe increasing your growth hormone secretion. You've got ipamorelin, tesamorelin, CJC, you've got all these different growth hormone type of secretagogues, growth hormone releasing hormones. There's so many different categories that fall into place, which is why it's important when you do peptides to get with a reputable coach or company that can help you go through it the right way. Because at the end of the day, the best place to start is getting blood work to see what you actually do need, not just thinking you need to take something because some influencer is telling you need to take it. They should be strategically implemented based on what your body needs. I like Tesamorelin. Glutathione is a very good one. A whole body detoxifier, liver detoxifier. It's a master antioxidant. I say anyone over 30 should probably be taking glutathione. BPC 157, there's TB 500, and there's GHK-Cu, which is a copper peptide. Those three can fall into the realm of healing peptides, or considered like the Wolverine stack. The copper peptide, GHK, we're actually, many people are deficient in copper. We have copper in our bodies. When you become deficient in it, it affects things like your hair, skin, nails, which is why that falls into the healing category, but also falls into, I would say, the beauty category, because it's really good for hair, skin, nails, and just a number of other things. I think the more these peptides continually are continually studied, the more we're finding out about how much more they do than we originally thought. BPC, TB 500 for gut health, wound healing, tendon strength, recovery, muscle tissue. The list goes on and on. Talked about NAD, there's synapsin, there's CMAX. There's a whole number of different cognitive peptides that you can inject. You can take by capsule. You can take them intranasally. Dude, there's another. So you talk about peptides, and there's another category of peptides that are slowly becoming more discussed now, that are called bioregulators, that are shorter chain sequenced amino acids that you can ingest. The reason why we don't ingest some of the ones we just mentioned is because the sequence is so long, they would be destroyed in the gut. But because some of these shorter ones, these bioregulator peptides, and there's probably one for everything you can think of: bladder, heart, adrenals, like you name it. There's a bioregulator for it. But because of the short chain amino acid sequence, you're able to ingest it without it being destroyed in your stomach. So it's an easier way to get some of these peptides in.
Yeah. Let's talk about NAD for a minute, because I've had a doctor that I trust that loves it and absolutely advocates for it. And I got a doctor that I trust that says, don't touch it. What's been your experience with the NAD? And I believe you've even stated that you've used it or are using it. So let's talk about what it is and then your experience where people should deploy it.
NAD is actually the one peptide that I'm not taking and I've never taken. The cognitive peptides that I'm currently taking are dihexa, synapsin, and CMAX. And those are nasal sprays and a capsule. And they're all different, but essentially it helps with this whole neuro pathways. It helps with brain fog. It helps mental clarity. The mechanism of action behind it is very complicated, in my opinion, to be able to discuss it and put into words where it makes sense, which is why I say start to go in and do your own research on it. Or I work with Transcend HRT. It's an amazing company. Obviously, I'm biased because I'm with them, but their wellness specialists are extremely knowledgeable and it take a tremendous amount of time to go through the whole process of exactly what they are and how they work, why you would need it, or the options you have, which would be best. So NAD is one that I haven't taken or experimented with, so I can't speak to it.
Gotcha. What about the BPC 157? I've heard a lot of people utilize it when they have injuries and use it for an isolated experience, but I've also heard others that use it just for their everyday health. So talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so the BPC, I say if you have a specific injury, let's just say maybe you tear a muscle, pull a muscle, you've got some type of internal wound somehow. This is where injectable BPC would be good because it's localized. You can literally inject it right into the injury site. Now, BPC in a capsule form would be better for someone who's looking to get some repair to their digestive tract, because the BPC 157 is really good for improving your digestive tract. But by the capsule form, it's actually processed much better specifically for that reason. You are going to get some of the spillover from taking the injectable from the injury site, but this is the difference between the two. Is one, you can directly inject into an injury site. You can use red light with it. So to do the injection, stand in front of a red light, near infrared, 15, 20 minutes, it'll help accelerate the healing process. So what would normally take you an injury, let's just say maybe a couple months to heal, you could be potentially healed if you're nutritionally on point, inflammation's on point, all that stuff. You could go from a 2-month healing probability to maybe 3 weeks. It's that dramatic.
Oh, that's what I've heard. I've heard some rave reviews on those injury healing because that's what we notice. I'm in my mid 40s. I look at my 7-year-old boy as he bangs himself up. He gets a cut on his leg or something like that, and it's healed in 2 days.
Yeah.
I bump a coffee table on my shin, and it takes 2 weeks for that thing to heal up. And that's just what happens as we age. Kids are like Wolverine, and as we age, we become less and less. And that's where some of these peptides are really coming in to heal us. And that's not just external cuts on leg stuff, as Aaron is telling us here, that those are internal things as well, from our gut to any muscle tears or whatever it may be.
What you just said right there, I think, is a good piece to let marinate in your brain on why it's important to stay as functionally healthy as possible, specifically from a nutritional standpoint, because the nutrition side of things can screw your hormones up massively and bring you down a path to, if you, let's just say you have a predisposition for something that runs in the family, heart disease or Alzheimer's or whatever it is, the more garbage you eat, the better chance of that genetic predisposition presenting itself in your life in a very bad way. And when I say that, it'll just creep up on you and bite you like a freaking Doberman Pinscher that just got out. You know what I mean? So if you can think about your health as you would taking care of your bank account or your financial status or something like that, that healing process will actually continue to stay pretty good until it doesn't and you eat bad. But this is why I talk about nutrition being the foundation of everything.